So in my 25 years of doing this, there are certain questions that have come out all the time, and I want to share those with you today. And this is really focused on the concept of choosing an agent. And so I think that the three things that come up mostly are, and this is whether you're looking for a buyer's agent or a seller's agent. And so there are three primary questions. So the first thing you may want to ask as you're interviewing agents is, what exactly will you do in exchange for the compensation you receive? And you want to see the full scope of services. And I'm going to share just a quick overview of what I do in a second. The second question is, what system do you use to ensure every promise is fulfilled? This can be all over the board. Some people are on autopilot. Some agents have been doing this forever. But you want somebody who has a really clear system that they follow, so it's very repeatable and nothing is missed. And the third thing is, how can I control the transparency in knowing when you complete something that is important to us and always know what's coming next? The biggest complaint I get from people as they've done their transactions in the past is their uncertainty. They weren't getting great communications from their agent and they didn't know what the next step was in the process. So having a place to go to actually look at that is absolutely essential. So when you're interviewing your agents, make sure you ask these three very specific questions. Again, what exactly will you do in exchange for the compensation you receive? What system do you use to ensure every promise is fulfilled? And finally, how can I control the transparency in knowing when you complete something that is important to us and always know what's coming next? So as I've talked about the three questions you want to ask any agent that you're interviewing to see if it's the right partnership, here's an example of the kind of thing that you want to look for and how I really partner with my clients and show them a very thought out plan. So first of all, this is just an example of the seller experience checklist that I use. And you can see it's not just like throwing a listing on the MLS and hoping it sells. There are somewhere between 150 and 200 steps that I take to get listings sold and at the highest price. It's pretty incredibly thorough when I document it all. And then going into a couple of these, let's see, what's a nice, interesting one to share here with you. So for instance, one of the things that I do when I'm selling a listing is I'll look for feeder markets. So maybe the Nashville market or the Florida market are coming into the Bay Area. And so I want to target those potential buyers. And so I'll do this research. I'll use ChatGPT. I've got this very, very long command profile that I've got set up for ending the prompts. And so that's how I use, just in that one example, how thorough I go, and imagine that for 150 others. So the other thing that's interesting is you see here, see this tab? What does it say? Visible to clients, right? I can turn this on or off for you depending on the visibility that you want. So if you want to see every single step in the transaction, which you don't, trust me, it's kind of like, seeing the sausage being made. You don't want to know about all that stuff. You want the important points. Those are the ones I'll turn on, but at any time during the transaction, you want to be able to see more or less of that. And that's what you want to be asking the agents that you're interviewing, whether they have this capability. And then also these will populate into a dashboard for yourself. So you'll see your next actions as well. So if you have any questions about this, you want to dive into to see how this process will actually work for you, either as a buyer or a seller, reach out and I would love to sit down and share this with you. Thanks. Talk soon.